Good evening. How are you? Very well. Welcome to our institute. Tonight we're gonna have a gentleman here. He's gonna show us all about fish, from sourcing, and I mean by that fishing in the real sense of the word,
What?
to cooking.
Pudding.
Cooking.
Cooking, yes.
Okay. Filleting,
You
obviously.
got me excited there
Yeah.
for a second. I haven't had anything.
Would you welcome Andrej Urosevic?
Hello. Is that the intro? May I speak now? Okay, cool. Hi. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And basically, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. I'm probably more excited than any of the demo chefs we've had here in recent times. I'm really, really looking forward to talk about fish, because this is literally all I do all day, from morning to evening. Quick background on me. I was 3 years old when I caught my first fish and ate my first fish, and that stuff kind of stuck around ever since. And I was in the extremely misfortunate situation, after school, to go to uni and become a corporate slave. And that was shit. I didn't like it. So before I hit 30, I said, you know what, this doesn't make any sense. I'm going to France, and I enrolled in the Cordon Bleu Paris, where I did the Grand Diplôme. So that was 2011, so 13 years ago. So that was that. I learned how to cook, or at least thought I did. Then returned to Germany, where I'm from, Düsseldorf, Germany, and opened a fish and seafood restaurant, Andrej's Oyster Bar and Restaurant. Caveat, I did not cook. I didn't spend a single minute in those 4 or 5 years behind the stove, simply because I found someone better, and had a chef de cuisine, and who was in charge of running the operational side of the kitchen, whilst I was in charge of service and arguing with customers most of the time. And this is how it goes. That was until 2018. I got a deal, an offer I couldn't refuse, so I sold the restaurant. And during COVID, end of 2020, I decided to move to London, simply because I always wanted to come back to London. I'd spent some time here before. And now I'm here. I've been here for 3 years. I started working as Fishmonger a couple of years ago at the Fin and Flounder in Hackney. Has anyone ever heard of Fin and Flounder in Hackney? And yeah, there you go.
I love them.
Well, there you go. We still need an assistant over here. Do you want to come and help me?
I'll go home now. I'll go home.
So basically, yeah, that's where I would work for the last almost two years, couple of years. They taught me how to fillet fish. So everything you see here, I got from them. So if I cock up my fillet, go to Fin and Flounder and tell them that they don't know how to instruct fishmongers. It's all their fault. Right, and that's basically it. Half a year ago, I decided to start making videos for the socials. I'm a full-time content creator. The videos are doing decently well, and yeah, that's basically it. And now I'm going to talk about fish with you guys. So if there's any questions you want to fire in my direction before we crack on. Brilliant. Oh, no, that's fine. You just got my hopes up for a second. Yes. I did, didn't I? Yeah, because right. Yeah. So that's a German thing. So it's a Fish Sommelier, because we like things certified and orderly. They came up with this diploma or specialized certificate, where it's basically they transferred the classic wine sommelier curriculum onto fish. So basically, what do? You study, you learn about fish biology, the culinary aspects, sustainability, but really anything there's fishing history, types of preparations, and all sort of cultural aspects when it comes to fish, aquaculture, mariculture, all that kind of stuff. So basically, yes, I got that thing because why not? It's fish. Yeah, cool. All right. Without any further ado, any more questions? Brilliant. Okay. So I don't know what you came here to hear about, but I was thinking, because I don't know, does anyone, are there any fishmongers? Is there anyone who deals with fish more than the average person on a daily basis or professionally? No? Okay. So how do you, when you buy fish, where do you go and source your fish from? That's a question to anyone, to everyone present. Where do you guys get your fish from? Borough Market. From Furnace or Shell Seekers. Yeah, both very good. Okay. And then when you choose your fish, how do you decide on which fish to go for? All right. Okay. Do you know how to identify fresh and good fish? Yes. So students, okay. Right, now I have to share the secret with everyone. So basically, the most important thing when sourcing fish is obviously its freshness. But what is fresh? A fish that's 5 days old can be in much better nick than a fish that's only a couple of days old but hasn't been stored properly on ice. So the golden rule is store your fish on 0 to 3 degrees centigrade if you want to put off enzymatic and bacterial decay, because these are the two main components that get your fish on the side you don't want it to be, right? So keep it nice and chilled. And when you pick it at the fish market, make always sure. Ask if you're allowed to touch it. If you're not allowed to touch it, ask the fish market to touch it for you. When you sort of, can you see that? Can I hold it? You see how it's bouncy? It's quite firm. That's a good sign. If you press into a fish, especially whitefish such as cod, pollock, coley, or haddock, you're very likely to leave a thumbprint. And that's not good, because these fish are pretty soft and also are sometimes not kept on ice properly, so they get soft. You don't want that. Sorry. Okay, so you want to keep your fish on between 0 to 3, maybe 4 degrees centigrade. That's the optimal condition. And if you manage that, fish such as cod or salmon can keep on ice at 0 degrees up to 14 days. I kid you not. So a 4-day-old fish is not the worst thing in the world, especially if fish can be too fresh. And that's the second point I want to make. Freshly line caught fish. If you were to catch a fish today, dispatch it, fillet it, and make sashimi or cook it, it has a very, very distinct flavor of nothing. Fresh fish doesn't really have much taste, so it's best to let it go sit through rigor mortis, which, depending on the species and the way it's been caught and the temperature, can last anywhere between 24 to 36, sometimes even 48 hours. And then it's flavor, the magic starts happening and the flavors develop. I think I've been talking quite a bit, and I would suggest, so that's one thing, firmness of flesh. Second thing, the eyes. Everyone says, keeps talking about the eyes have to be translucent and clear, etc. Can you see? Okay. So the eyes, the pupils are slightly bulging, right? You can see the iris. You can see this iridescent circle. I don't know if it's, can you see it? This indicates that the fish is indeed very fresh. Now, some may say, oh, wait a minute, it looks a bit cloudy, the inside of the eye. We're told that eyes aren't supposed to be cloudy. Yes and no. Certain fishes have see-through eyes, but some, such as sea bass, that are active, those are fish that are also active during the night. They have something called a tapetum lucidum. It's sort of a reflective membrane that reflects the light or the moonlight and helps them see better through during their hunt at night. So depending on the fish, milky eyes, they shouldn't be cloudy. But if they are slightly, I don't know if you can see that, if they're slightly sort of, what's the right word I'm looking for, like semi-cloudy, that's fine depending on the species. But generally, you want them to be firm and bulging and shiny. So the outside should be shiny. And that's pretty much it. The fins are usually a good indicator on whether it's been, whether the fish is fresh or not. It's been kept in a humid or wet surrounding. If the tail fin, for instance, is shriveled and all dry, you know how it's been kept. It's probably not been kept on ice, but on a shelf. Yeah. Guts that have been taken out, I'm afraid, so I can't really show you the. I can't show you the gills, nor the gills, neither the gills nor the guts. But they're supposed to be. Shiny, plump, lush, and they do not smell. Fresh fish's guts does not really smell much other than much as than iodine and sea. Yes.
So the three different languages we see here are two fishes about frozen. So the same rule applies to the frozen fish.
So frozen fish. So the thing is with frozen fish, if you thaw it, the way it's been handled, what's important is the way the fish has been handled. So for instance, if you take cod or monkfish or shellfish, those are fish that should never be frozen, because what happens is when the water molecule, when the water freezes, the ice crystals, they expand, and then what happens is you unfreeze the fish and they dehydrate, because the tissue, the connective tissue, the meat tissue has been punctured and torn, and the fish starts to lose fish, because monkfish and cod-like fish are very prone to this result, because they contain more water than others. But generally speaking, frozen fish, there's nothing wrong with frozen fish as long as it's been kept on ice without interruption. So fluctuations in temperature, in freezing temperature, would cause adverse effects, and then you get, mushy fish. Yes. I wouldn't recommend it because they contain too much water. Right, I think, yes? What? TV. So for our first recipe, we've got Steve the sea bass. Steve, very, very, very ubiquitous fish in Europe. Branzino spigolo in Italy, Branzin rubin in Croatia and Serbia. It's called loup de mer au bar in France, Wolfsbarsch in Germany, and I think there's like, there's loads of names for this fish. You get this most of the time farmed, but we are lucky enough in the UK to get them wild caught, which this one is. Yes, madam. Loup de mer. Yes. So, yeah, or bar, depending. So there's, I think, in the north of France, anywhere up until Burgundy, I think it's bar, and the further south you go, the more often you'll hear the name loup de mer, because loup de mer up in the north of France may also apply to a different fish, which is the wolffish. So, which is a completely different species. A very, very ugly one. Yeah. Cool. Speaking of France, first recipe, let's do carpaccio. Does everyone like eating raw fish? No? Good. We're going to convert it today because this is literally the weirdest recipe. Chef Colin and I have a wager how many people are going to love this recipe and how many are, yeah. I'm happy if 3 out of 10 are happy. Yeah. I still want to try. I've done this recipe a couple of times because I stole it myself from a Meilleur Ouvrier de France, which is basically, are you familiar with that means? With what that means, Meilleur Ouvrier de France? Basically in France, you have a quadrennial craftsmanship Olympic thing where the best chefs and pastry chefs and fishmongers and what have you compete. It happens every 4 years, and then you have the winner or not, and then they can call themselves MOF, and they're basically the top of their craft. It's the bollocks. Anyway, this guy, sorry? You can only be French. You must be French to do this. Huh? Otherwise, where will be the fun? So the guy, Arnaud Van Am, he published a book a couple of years ago, which I had to get, and this is one of his recipes. All the credit If you like it, goes to him. If it doesn't, if you don't like it, that's Colin's fault. So, yeah. Right. Filleting. I'm going to show you, we have 4 recipes with 2 different fish. A round fish and a flat fish, which I'll get in a bit. So round fish, sea bass, everybody loves it. Grilled, poached, baked, carpaccio, ceviche, however, whatever. I'm going to show you a basic filleting technique. And yeah, we leave the head on. Normally, when I instruct people, when I fillet myself, I prefer cutting the head off because once you can you see it on the screen? Cameraman? Can you? Anyway, all right, I'll try like this. So basically, when you fillet, when you make your first incision behind the nape of the fish, your blade is inevitably going to run against the hard bit of the head. Right, there you go. But if you take off the head, you get a much nicer and cleaner angle. The only problem is, for presentation's sake, I'm going to keep the head on to make it look pretty in a bit. So this is a bit more complicated, but this is also a way most fishmongers do it because it's quicker. You don't waste time taking off the head. Right? Okay. So you make your first incision right behind the nape and the operculum. Right? Also, have any of you seen my videos on the socials? Good, fantastic. So just to destroy any illusion you may have, that's cap cut. I do 2.5 to 3 times the speed that I usually fillet to fit everything in into 1.5 minutes. So don't be surprised if I don't fillet as quickly as in the videos. Right, so we've made our first incision right around here. See that? Okay. Good. You make your first cut. Right? Does everyone see what's going on? Because I'm not sure whether that, yeah, it shows now, okay? So you go around the spinal column, right? You expose the vertebrae, then you go back and snap through the pin bones. Okay? You detach the nape. Can you see? Does everyone see? Okay? So the fillet is more or less clean and exposed. Okay? And then you just literally peel. You go in a sewing motion. You detach the fish. Oh, wait. There you go. But not in a sewing, sorry, in a gliding motion. Down the fish. And there's your, oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. So this was supposed to come off right so. Okay? So just imagine, with a little bit of imagination, that I didn't mess this up. And this is what what's supposed to look like. Other side. There's no better. It really depends. It's super individualist. It's very subjective because it depends on your filleting style. What it boils down to when picking knives is your. Normally it's this side I mess up. Anyway, what it boils down to is keeping it sharp. So the most important thing when buying a knife is the honing stone, is the whetstone. Because a 10-pound IKEA knife can cut just as well as a Wüsthof knife. The only difference is IKEA is going to go very blunt, very quickly. Okey-doke. That's special. Right. So it's pretty clean from what I'd say. Can you see? All right. Yeah? Pretty basically, we're going to keep this for presentation. Now, pin bones. Pin bones are not actual bones. They are calcified tissue, connective tissue. So technically, those aren't bones, but they are very much a nuisance nonetheless. So you pick them with tweezers or what's the name of the? It's not pliers, but there's another name for it. The big ones, the one you were using. Pliers. It's just pliers. Depending on the size of the fish and the pin bones you're dealing with. So it helps to count because these guys have anywhere, depending on how your cut was. So this one was decent. This one was terrible. Have about 5 to 6. This goes up to salmon. And the biggest pin bone count I ever had in a salmon was 31 pin bones. So it does help to keep track. I'm not only saying that because it's important, but also because I have terrible OCD and I have to count every bloody fish's number of pin bones. It's a thing. Okay. Right. So we're taking off the membrane. I'll put this as, and now, knife. So when we're making carpaccio, so I'm taking off the skin. Usually, when filleting, when making carpaccio, I recommend to keep the scales on, which makes the skinning process easier. The fish came in scaled. So, but regardless, here's your fish skin. Very nice. Dried, blanched, dried, and then crispen up in the either in the oven or in the fryer, and that makes for wonderful crispy fish skin chips. Very nice. All right. Okay, so far so good. Any questions so far? No? Okay. I'll just fill it on. Yes? So take off the membrane. Yep.
What would be the
Yes, sir.
Andre? What would be the main difference between a sort of a farmed sea bass and a
Right, good question.
and a wild sea bass?
It's very difficult. So first of all, it's a good, very good question. So first of all, in terms of appearance, you can't even tell the difference with sea bass between males and females. It's almost impossible. So in terms of farmed and wild caught fish, also very difficult, but I reckon there's one telltale thing. This is a wild caught fish, and the snout is slightly more rounded. So when you go to a fishmonger on North End Road, for example, I know they have good quality, but they don't sell wild caught sea bass. Theirs are farmed. The snout is more pointy. So it's the pointy snout and thicker bellies because their fat content is higher. So sea bass are considered low fat content fish. We're talking 1 to 2%, up to 5% during winter when they, when they fatten up a bit for the cold season. So it's mostly the shape of the head and the size of the belly. For gilted sea bream, it's very similar. Are you familiar with gilted sea bream? Orata. Dorade, no? No? Bream? Oh, well, then there's no point in telling you how to distinguish those, is there? Okie doke. Now we can start plating the...
Perfect.
The so no can I just have a plating, just a round white fish, please?
A round white plate or a...
Yeah, plate. Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. Is this one bigger? Same?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And we can start plating. On the contrary, So farm fish is, first of all, a very contentious topic because a MSC or ASC certified farm that raises these guys will certainly have a different product than some of those wild farms in other Mediterranean countries, for instance. So it really depends on the feed, on the amount, on the stress level of the individual cage unit, because the more fish inside a cage, the higher the stress level. So, and these are predatory fish, so you can have cannibalism, and then you have other types of diseases, etc. But the more caring the more caring the husbandry process is being carried out, the better the quality. So high quality farm fish. Honestly, in certain cases, I prefer high quality farm fish rather than wild caught fish, because there's another big advantage: no parasites. Farm fish don't have, or I've never seen parasites. And again, handling and shipping. You catch them, you control the process, the whole process from dispatching the fish to slaughtering, dispatching, icing, culling, sending off. The logistical chain is in your hands, so you can guarantee the quality. If you get a bream or a bass from Aquanor in the north of France, I tell you, you'll second guess wild caught fish. It really depends. There's no ultimate, this one's better and this one's worse. It depends on the farm. That's basically it. Good.
Can I take the oil and the lemon?
Yes, it's right here. Do we have the, where are you? There you go. Just give it a quick stir.
That's it.
That's
it,
it.
everything
The
in
lemon
there.
is right there. And
Perfect.
I have my brushy. Okay, good. Right. So, carpaccio, very simple and straightforward. Lemon juice. Just going to brush it. I'm just going to brush the bottom of the plate. The plate. Okay. And then we have.
Can I take the lemon juice?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much.
So here's something very interesting, which is going to make this all, going to make this make or break. Olive oil infused with vanilla and tonka beans. I know it sounds weird, and it's going to taste even more weird, and it's very counterintuitive, but I think it might work. Okay.
I wonder if they all know what tonka bean is.
Do you know what tonka beans are? Oh, sorry. Imagine if an almond made love to a vanilla pod. It's literally the outcome. It smells of almonds and vanilla. It's an African. I think it grows in Africa. I can show you. I think I still have one somewhere here. Okay. They look like dark, like black fava beans, and you just sort of mandolin them. You just microplane them on into whatever you're trying to season flavor. But some time ago, tonka beans were very big in cuisine, in pastry, and they would make creme brulee, tonka bean creme brulee, as a vanilla substitute. Okay. Fishy? Just long strokes. Make sure to exert enough pressure so you don't miss a spot. Right. And you cut your carpaccio slices into, I reckon, 1.5 centimeter, 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeter thick, essentially sashimi slices. Because sashimi is all the rage at the moment, so yeah. Right. There you go.
So for this dressing, Andre,
Sorry?
For this dressing, we actually passed out the tonka bean. Am I right?
Have we?
We passed the tonka bean out of here and we left the vanilla in, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Sorry.
Right.
So basically, yeah, that's the thing when you have ADHD. I'm just concentrating on cutting the sashimi.
I beg your
And now
pardon.
I'm going to explain what we did. So the olive oil, I'm going to stop filleting the fish because I can't do things at the same time. Can't even listen to music and drive the car.
That's all right, not
Drive the
our
car.
students, so that's absolutely fine. You carry
Olive
on.
oil, olive oil, shaved tonka bean, and the seeds of well, vanilla seeds. You bring the oil up to about 70 to 80 degrees. You put everything inside, you let it infuse for 10 to 15 minutes, and then you strain it. You should have an oil which is flavored with both ingredients, and you should still have those lovely lemon, what should I call it? Vanilla seeds in there. Okay? You good, chef?
I'm good. I'm just going to get the sea bass and then we can feed the staff.
Yes. Quality check. All right. Right. Okey-doke. Seasoned plate. Fish. Right, okay. Toothpick. Boop. So I was debating with myself whether to leave the pelvic fins on and the collarbones, because essentially there's a little bit of good eating still attached to the fish, which we're not using for this recipe. I chose to keep it for presentation's sake, but if you're going to make this at home, feel free to take off the collarbones, snip off the fins, and just pan fry them. That's really, it's like chicken wings without, the chicken. All right. It's visible. Look. I'll just start arranging. Sorry? Online. Oh, right, yeah. Tell them they will get their money. I'm just very short on funds at the moment. Sorry? Yes? Just leave them at, if you're unsure, I'll do it at 100 degrees and then survey, place them on the baking tray, parchment paper, line them out nicely, and then cover them with parchment paper and another piece of baking tray. And then put it in the oven at 100 degrees, should take 45 minutes. But it really depends on the oven. Welcome. Yes. It's as risky as going out of leaving the house and worrying that you might get killed by a falling, I don't know, brick or a flower pot. So it can happen. You know, you can get an ouchie to your tummy, but it's highly unlikely because supply chains. It all depends on your, on your supply. A lot of it depends on your supplier. Generally, fresh fish may contain parasites if it's wild caught, but if you're worried about it, freeze it for 2 to 3 days, depending on the power of your freezer, but it should go down to minimum -20 to -30 for at least a couple of days. That should take care of any parasite you may worry about. Okey-doke. So this is our fishy, and then, sorry, chef. Do you mind if I? Oh, sorry, no.
No, go for it. No, I'm joking. No, go for it.
Play.
You sure?
Easy. I asked for it.
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice, fish. Okay, so just brush it ever so gently and lovingly. So what's going to happen is this is indeed a fish that cannot be prepared too much in advance because it takes about 10 minutes for the lemon juice to start curing the protein. It's called a process of denaturalization, and this process technically and literally cures and cooks the fish. So it changes texture and it's going to change its texture and appearance. So this has to be done 10 minutes before serving, the earliest. So that's what the lemon juice does. You can do that with lime juice, even with vinegar if you're hardcore. And and then you flavor it with the oil because oil is fat, and fat is your best friend. All right, there you go. And just as we thought, the recipe couldn't get any more weird. The secret sauce. What is it? Strawberries. Yeah, strawberries. At least it's very social, Instagram friendly. So yeah.
If you think this is a weird recipe, Andre, you should come back in about 4 weeks' time when our superior students are doing their exams and taste their fish dish.
I don't want to.
This is nothing like weird.
Really?
No.
You should have seen the monstrosity I cooked up in my final exam. I was so full of myself that I cocked up everything. I barely flunked.
So
I don't want to talk about it. It's been 12 years, but that's got no. Oh, but I messed this one up as well. Right.
So just on that note, that's an extremely good note.
I'm sure there's a lesson for everyone in there, but I'm not keen on sharing it.
Is the lesson there? Sometimes less is more, and simplicity is often the case, rather than trying too hard.
Yes.
Thank you. Correct answer. Well done. Very good.
Guinea fowl. That's still giving me nightmares. And pomana. Did everyone see what I did here? I seasoned it with. There you go. And salt also cures meat and fish. A little bit of pepper. Lime. Just microplane it on top. This is actually not part of the original recipe. I just felt that it needs, and yes, it's a visual thing. It just needs a little green touch. Do you need the microplane, chef?
I will do when you're finished.
Okay, cool.
Yes, please.
I'm pretty much done over here. So if you guys want to take a, I don't know, is it still, should I bring it up front and put it on display? Okay, good. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. Fine.
Did you forget the strawberry? Oh, no, you didn't.
Aha.
Damn. Okay.
Damn. Right. There you go. Oh, right. There's the fishy. Did you actually like it? Yeah. Oh, awesome. Should I do the zesting?
If you wish, and then I'll do the seasoning, and then we can send. Perfect.
That looks very good. You did it good. That's the perfect amount of seasoning. Thingy.
Are we seasoning it with the
There's no salt in it.
no salt in it?
If anyone cares to see, have a look. See here, the color is starting to change from translucent to slightly opaque and milky. Oxidation. That's the
curing.
The curing. Oxidation fish you may observe an oilier fish because when fish oxidize, most of the fat that gets oxidized. So that's when mackerel, tuna, swordfish get sort of grayish, become grayish, darkish, dull in color. I think I totally overdid it on the lime order.
It's not a problem. We can use limes for the gin and tonics later.
Oh yes, I completely forgot about the gin and tonic today. I don't want to keep it going.
Perfect. Good. Would you like me to carry on?
If you don't mind.
And
What do you
season-
need?
season-
I'll give
season-
you the sauce.
Perfect.
Pass on the sauce. Lovely. Right. So that's sorry. It's May, isn't it? Is it 15? What was the 15? What day are we today? So last week would have been my 2-year anniversary. So yeah. If you need more fish, there's some behind us.
Thank you very much.
Okie doke. So that's fish number 1. Sorry, recipe number 1. Now, sorry. And now, because this was the shocker, the opening shocking
So
recipe.
you can start to take the ones with the lime on. Yes,
She means you.
yes.
Oh, please don't call me chef because that would I don't want to be exposed as a fraud one day. Do you know what the difference between a chef and a cook is? Any ideas?
25 grand a year.
I knew I should have reconsidered my. Does anyone know what the difference between a chef and a cook is? A cook makes food and a chef makes cooks. I never made a cook. I never had a restaurant or a kitchen under my command, so I can't really. It would feel wrong calling myself chef. So I'm a fellow Cordon Bleu graduate with an insane, mental disorder and a passion for fish. That's it. But I think there was a question somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Just shout, please.
So, I want to ask, what other fish would be good for this recipe other than sea bass?
So sea bass is very lends itself to fillet. It's very easy to fillet, but you may use any type of bass type, perch related fish. So bass, bream. You might even try. Bloody hell! You might even try mackerel if you manage to fillet it well, because every fish, essentially, almost, most fish can be eaten raw. So, as long as you can get the filleting right, it's going to work. If you get it right, I think I'm not a big fan of, apart from halibut and turbot, I'm not a big fan of flatfish carpaccio because they are super low fat. And their texture is, I think it's a big opportunity cost eating them raw rather than frying them up with some butter, pan frying them, because they just excel when you cook them à la meunière, for instance, flatfish. But you can do it. It's just a waste. Okie doke. Recipe number 2. Hot enough? Hot enough. Grilling season is upon us, and this is, we're going to make a reverse butterfly or block fillet cut. There's a camera on the, may I ask for the camera to be, thank you. Good, so we have another sea bass. I'm going to start by trimming all its fins, because we're just going to remove the spine, and otherwise leaving the fish intact. almost whole, and we don't want the fins to interfere with the cooking and with the presentation. Good.
You'll notice the
Chef,
question.
would you like? I was just going to ask.
You'll notice the questions stop when the food gets delivered,
Yeah.
so they all just, you know.
I was just going to ask you if there's anything I forgot to ask you to ask me if I forgot it.
I forgot.
There you go. Okay. Place the fish in front of you, head facing away. If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, just do the opposite from what I'm doing. And generally, never. Yeah. So when you buy your fish, ask for the fish to be gutted and scaled beforehand to avoid a mess at home. Now this is the ventral cavity. You place, oh good, use your knife, you place it where the where the anal shaft used to be. Doop. All clear so far, what I just did? Good, all right. Now, usually, definitely use a sturdy knife. And if you have a good enough knife or one that you don't really care about, you can now crack through these bones to that rib cage. I'm going to use my shears because I just sharpened this knife the other day, and I'm not ready to sharpen again. So you go through along the vertebrae and cut through each. Where are you? Come on. Yeah, cut through every rib bone. Right? You place your knife at the top and go back. Right? One swoop.
You haven't gone all the way through.
Sorry, what?
You haven't gone all the way
No, I leave it connected. I keep the connection at the base of the caudal peduncle, well, the tail, to keep it together, to hold it. Otherwise, it would come apart more easily. Also, it looks nicer. Okay, and then this is what you do. You just go along. Yep. Until you reach the base. Right? Okay. Mr. Tiny spiny. Right, okay. Good. That. Then you flip the fish around. Repeat the process, starting at the tail end and just pulling the knife, the blade towards you. Same thing. Using these bones here, the hemelvertebral spines, I think they're called, as guide to your blade up until here. You see? Okay. And then repeat the process with your shears. Just cut along the spine. Can everybody hear me all right, by the way? Okay, good. All right. Then you go over the central column. Oh, by the way, show of hands. How many of you really didn't like it? The carpaccio.
Be brave, madam. Put your hand up, please.
Yeah, please be
Yes.
brave. How many people
Support
did
me.
not really enjoy this recipe? Oh, come on, be honest. Point taken. Okay, and how many of you really liked it, actually? Are you shitting me, seriously? It's over the 50 quid.
Guinnesses are on me.
No, it's a very weird recipe. I tested it with a few friends of mine the other day, and we're like, this is extremely weird stuff, and just open with it and see how the audience reacts. It was really just, see what happens. Good. So here's our reverse butterfly with the pre-cut with the skeleton exposed. So just snip through the base, the tail. Huh? And voila. Okay. Now what I like to do is take off the rib cage. So it's visible. Okay. Insert the knife at the bottom of the rib cage. Pull it up. And then peel off the rib cage.
Presumably, any round fish you can do this with.
Pretty
Andre,
much,
can't you? You
pretty
can
much.
do it with the
Well,
same sort of
yes and
structure.
no. I
Same
wouldn't
sort
try
of structure.
this with. I wouldn't try this with cod-like fish because their bony structure is different. They have a different rib cage, and it would be quite tricky. And also, I've never tried, so I'd be lying. But yeah, I wouldn't be confident doing it with cod or hake or pollock. But you can use gilted bream. You can use black bream. You can use red mullet. Fantastic. That thing, or gurnard, red gurnard. Do you guys know what a red gurnard is? Yes, yes. Are you sure you've been going to Fin and Flounder? Yeah?
Why?
Well, you don't know what a red gurnard is, and they really, really like to sell red gurnard. Okay. Where are you from? I don't know what red gurnard is called over there. I actually don't know any names in Hebrew. Huh. What's sea bass called in Hebrew? Bass, just bass. Okay. Do you know that Israelis were among the first who started cultivating, farming sea bass in the 60s and 70s? I think actually, yeah, because one of the yeah. It's the French and Italians who sort of started doing it, and then the Israelis joined. Yeah, it's been very popular in there ever since. Oh, so
The Greeks farm it quite a bit, don't they?
yeah, they are. I think the second largest country, well, producer of sea bass and gilted bream in Europe, along with Turkey. Just cut the membrane, and this is your. Whoop, okay. Base, and then pin bones, because pin bones are everywhere. You don't want them. So if you want to have this type of fish cut, and you prefer your fishmonger to do it, just ask them for a reverse butterfly or block fillet. Because if you ask for a normal butterfly, the incision is carried out the other way around and goes to the back and is kept together at the belly.
Other than fish and flounder,
Yes.
any other fishmongers you'd recommend that you use?
Oh, absolutely. So Rex Goldsmith, the Chelsea fishmonger in Chelsea. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. Excellent fish. And then there's always the Sea on Pavilion Road on Knightsbridge, in Knightsbridge. And then the ones that you've mentioned before on Borough Market, Furness, and Chelsea. Because they're also very, very reliable. So I'd say those are my go-to fishmongers.
Okay. I certainly don't think that we're short of very good fishmongers in London and around the sort of areas.
Absolutely not.
I think
We
we've got
are blessed.
we've got very, very good supply and suppliers. Yeah.
It's. I mean, in terms of fish, if you like fish,
Yeah.
the best places in Europe are probably. I mean, London's probably the second best place after Paris. I mean, the stuff we get here is just incredible. And if you're adventurous, go to Billingsgate at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when they open up for the general public, and then you know, you can get to pick your fishy. Right. Yep.
So, in the local market, farmers market, where they stand and then all the fish on ice. So when you say that you can freeze the fish to keep pesticide,
Yes.
so how do I know that the fish from that store is not being frozen? So you can't really freeze them.
Well, sometimes you have frostbite, but can everyone see? I mean, I'll just hold it up. So that's your reverse butterfly. So I didn't really understand the question. When you are we talking the whole fish?
Freeze the fish if you're worried about pesticide.
Pesticide. Oh, parasite. Sorry. Yes. Sorry, I was thinking. Sorry, you're not? Yeah, because it sort of kills the quality, the eating experience. But generally speaking, if you want assurance that it's been frozen, ask the vendor for a certificate. So when you buy tuna, there are very, very, very strict regulations in place by the European Union and the United Kingdom to guarantee fraud and misconduct. So you have certificates, use by dates, origin, country of origin, method of catchment method. Oh, sorry, thank you, Chef. Catchment method, all those sorts. So if you go to a fishmonger and explicitly ask for tuna or salmon, it has to be sashimi grade. Sashimi grade means if it's wild caught, such as tuna, it has to be frozen, blast frozen. That's the term. Blast frozen. Generally, that happens in the country of origin post harvesting, but then again, there's nuances to it. Down to minus 60 degrees, that kills off everything that ever lives or ever will live inside that fish. And then, as the cooling chain is not being interrupted, they ship it over, and then it's cut into blocks, or some, depending on where it's being cut into blocks, and then you buy it frozen. Sometimes defrosted, but they have to show you on demand the certificate that it's sashimi grade. This doesn't go for farm fish. So salmon comes from Scotland and it comes from a reputable farm. It doesn't need to be frozen because farm stuff is almost always free of parasites. These are scallops. Everyone likes scallops? Nice. Cool. Opening scallops. So what we're going to do is we're going to pimp this little bugger with a nice arrangement of scallops on top. Можешь заверить, So I first remove the skirt, and then, I'm going to try it with this spatula. Usually I use a knife, but I like my knives. So all you have to do is exert some pressure. Can you see that? Can you see it? So the muscle, the adductor muscle, is attached to both sides of both shells. So what you want to do is you just want to slide your knife or your spatula or whatever along flush with, in a slight flush-ish, but in a slight angle, right? Down, bloop, detaching the adductor muscle from the shell. Okay? Then you have the skirt. That's the that's the poo-poo and the coral. Okay. You just cut through there. Okay. It should come off more or less easily. Okay. Coral, the skirt. You may use the skirt in further applications, depending on the recipe and how adventurous you are. Not much taste in those, but The texture is quite interesting. I'm not going to use it today, and this is what comes out of it. And you're left with the muscle and the coral. The coral, those are the animal's reproductive organs. We're making sauce with it. Okay. So I'll just. What time is it, by the way?
10:15. Yeah. Half past 7.
7:30. So we have another
Hour.
hour. Yeah.
Or so.
Also. Okay.
Also.
Ah, no idea.
They're being entertained and they're being fed. They're going to stay here all night.
Yeah, but
Look at them.
but they're not.
Look at them.
But they're not having any drinks. That's what was worrying me.
Yeah. Then they'll sleep here.
Fine with me. What the fuck? Ah. Yeah. So I took this one out of the shell just to demonstrate how to do it if you're in a rush. Right? Take off the muscle. Up. Take off this little cartilaginous bulb, which keeps together the skirt and
Those would be referred to as diver cord scallops, wouldn't they? Those.
correct,
And the reason that we know that is
because people die for them.
Okay, and can we tell by looking at them that they're diver caught, or
Honestly, the only telltale thing is this one. But honestly, they don't really farm these. So,
but rather than
if
dredged?
rather than dredged, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yes, because dredged ones are generally processed during the dredging or right after the dredging process or in processing plants and then packed to order. But diver scallops are a thing of beauty. Mm. So when it's super fresh, these ones are fresh. It's got this lovely scallopy, I dare say, but nutty sweet flavor. Iodine, sweetness. Those are sort of the. May I pass this around because this is a very good. This is a very good example of what a fresh scallop smells. Because if it's too fresh, again, no scent. But the muscle is throbbing. So if you open it, it's still pulsating. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You get them at Fin and Flounder sometimes, that fresh. I've seen them. Yeah. And, sorry? Always go by color. So if it's nice and shiny, if the guts and the intestines aren't dry, those are all good indicators. But mostly, you see the gloss on the outside. This is what you want. This is what you're looking for.
You can buy these already cut out of the shell, can't you? Which
Oh yeah,
they-
absolutely.
they
Those are
come-
mostly dredged.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to give these a rinse, and then we crack on. Yeah. Always rinse. So when rinsing, working with fish in the kitchen, people tend to wash their fish. So here's the thing. Does everybody like crispy fish skin? And what's the enemy of crispiness? Braising. So so you want as little moisture as possible on your fish. So generally, when you get a fish in advance, try dry aging those fillets in your fridge at home. It really works wonders. Couple of days, skin side up, in the driest compartment of your fridge, and it will help crispen up the skin. And always pat dry. And another thing, fillets. And I'm very anal about this, and I've had my fair share of discussions with other fishmongers, because not many do it, but I'm pretty adamant about it. The flesh, once exposed, no water. No water. 2 reasons. A, it doesn't look nice, but most importantly, most importantly, it stops bacteria. It stops bacteria from spreading, because water is the biggest. Do we have plasma? I think I cut myself.
I'll get you one, no problem.
It's probably a shell. They fight back even in death. Bastards. Thank you, chef. Cheers, good sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we have a little problem. I think this is my stain. What do we do? I'll fry. This is my blood. So we just fry it and don't eat it.
Yeah, no taste. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No tasting. So we won't be doing. I mean, anyway, there won't be a tasting of this
Yeah,
dish.
so
Some of that went onto the flesh, and I wouldn't be. Yeah. I wouldn't want to serve that. I'm sorry about that for anyone.
We weren't
who
doing a
was-
tasting of this anyway. This was
We
just-
weren't doing
we weren't
tasting
doing
of this anyway, but you know, sometimes
Yes.
when I was in the audience, I wouldn't care
You'd
about
taste
what
everything.
was for tasting or not. I would just go for it. Same with scallops. Keep them as dry as possible. There you go. Right, okay, on to the sauce. So we're going to make a quick beurre blanc. This one, no, this one. Have you guys? So how many of you are students at the moment at Cordon Bleu? Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. How have you done beurre blanc yet? Yeah. What do you think of it? Yes. Because there's only one answer I want to hear. Butter. The essence of cooking. Not only French cooking, but literally butter. Okay. So add some shallots. Thank you. I'm so not used to this. When I do my videos, I spend
Nor am I.
probably 60% of my time washing up. It's ridiculous how many steps there are between taking frames, between takes. It's like Christmas. Thank you, chef.
No problem. We share the fee.
Yeah, we do. What fee? You know something I don't?
No.
Right, we'll just quickly sweat the shallots, then deglaze with white wine vinegar and what's it called? White peppercorns, and that's really it. Let it reduce to almost, we called it a sec, so to dry glaze, yeah? Okay, just give it a head start. I'm just going to speed up this process.
I mean, this is for those that don't study the Cordon Bleu. This is a sort of a basic sauce which then can be elevated by adding lots of different other ingredients and
Correct.
can have lots and lots of derivatives behind it by
Yes.
adding herbs and all sorts of things.
Yeah, so it's the base, for instance, for sauce béarnaise. Instead of using white wine vinegar, you use white wine, you reduce it, and then Oh shit, that's bullshit, isn't it? It's hollandaise.
Hollandaise.
Sorry.
Hollandaise.
Yes. I should stick to fish. You stick to
I'll
sauces.
do the cook,
man.
yeah,
Yes, you do. Yeah. But we can all agree on this is a fabulous standard
Absolutely.
sauce for fish.
Absolutely.
White wine vinegar. Shoo.
No.
I
No.
wasn't going to throw it away.
Thank you.
All right. White peppercorns.
Thank you.
There you go. Now keep this for later. We don't need these. These are just in my way. Right, that's just gonna reduce this. In the meantime, oh, there's another scallop, isn't there?
Yeah.
Aha.
The wine in there would presumably be a dry wine, wouldn't it? We wouldn't want anything sweet, would we?
Depends. But generally, no. What you're looking for is the acidity to counterbalance the, pretty obscene amounts of butter and creme fraiche that are going to go inside.
Right.
So generally, when cooking, it's all about balance. Whenever you're using a lot of grease, when you're using a lot of greasy base in your recipe, you need acidity to counterbalance that, and or a little bit of sweetness, and then you just play around with nuances and yeah. Good. Oh. These are the corals. They are going to be used for flavoring. So I'm just going to chop these up roughly. Nice. Okay. Yeah, off you go. Chef, would you add a bay leaf for making the reduction?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Why not?
I wouldn't, because it doesn't go in the recipe.
You've done this before, haven't you? I'm not your first demo victim. Nicely played. Right. Cool. Any questions so far? Yes. So you don't have to raise your hand. Just shout at me. That's how I've been told at home. Just shout at me. Sorry. Washing the fish. Oh, basically yes. Don't expose the flesh to water. It's going to do two things. It's going to absorb moisture, and then when you cook it, it's going to relinquish some of that moisture, and then it's going to start. The fish is going to braise rather than crispen up. That's one thing. But on matters of hygiene, water is where bacteria live, and you don't want bacteria to spread. So give them as little surface and nourishment as possible. Yeah, basically those are the 2 points. And also me, from a sort of being professionally damaged, when I go to a fishmonger, when I'm presented with a piece of fish flesh, and would you describe the surface of wet fish flesh? It's sort of dampened. It looks dull. It looks tired. It just doesn't look. It's just not professional, guys. It's just shit.
It can change white. It can change,
yeah,
change
depending
to
on
white.
the fish. Yes. So hygiene, culinary use, loss of crispiness, and yeah, we're pretty much good.
Yep.
Basically, it's been reduced to a glaze, and this is where the magic happens. Creme fraiche, fair amount.
So this is giving us an acidity as well, isn't it?
Yes,
Creme fraiche is giving us-
absolutely. That's a very good point, yes. Creme fraiche gives a lot of acidity. Okay, just whisk that in. Bring it to a slight simmer, and then use the butter, which I had. Never-ending butter supply. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've done this spiel before.
Okay.
There you go. There's plenty more than were there. Perfect. I found your secret butter stash. Okay. Bring it to a slight simmer, light simmer. Honestly, I thought by this time many more people would have left already, so I'm happy. I'm good, I'm good. Do you approve? I still feel, I just met this guy today, I still feel like a little kid because he's a proper chef, he's wearing that thing. He's got ratatouille under there. And I'm like, please don't call me, please don't refer to me, chef, so I'm asking for approval.
You're doing just fine.
Thank you, chef. Just fine. Cool. Light up this guy. Where are we?
Hot enough?
Hot enough? Yeah.
Hot enough.
Look, I know you decide. Put it on 5.
No
Light
problem.
it up, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Has it been? And I need, which one for the scallops? Do you think this one will do?
Perfect.
Yeah?
Perfect. Cast iron.
Cast iron.
Lovely.
Lovely. It's going to stick like hell, but then again,
No, they won't. No, they'll be fine.
Lovely.
No, they'll be fine.
Good. Right, our sauce has started to simmer, and now we're going to whisk in bit by bit. By bit, I mean just chunky. The butter. So you have to be somewhat vigilant when it comes to making beurre blanc, because what can happen is that if it boils over, that the emulsion, so it's a hot emulsion where the milk solid, you just have to keep, I'll just shut up, you just, please, you finish my thought.
Get whiskey.
I'm whiskey. You can cock up the sauce if you don't pay attention, basically. It can split, it can break up, yeah.
Lovely.
Do you mind machine one?
Yeah.
And I'll just strain it into one of the, cool. Chef, may I ask you a favor? Can you do the straining so I can
Absolutely.
get cracking with
Absolutely.
the fish?
No problem at all.
Okie dokie.
Any more butter to go in?
Yes.
Okay, you tell me how much and I'll monte. And you crack on.
So basically, you're just looking. If you can see. So if you take the back of your spatula, and if it splits the sauce like most is the Red Sea, it's the Red Sea or the Dead Sea? Well, the sea. Then you're actually good to go. I prefer more butter.
Absolutely. We put another half of that in.
There you go.
There we go.
I'll
I
leave
can do
the
that.
rest up to you.
No
Okay,
problem.
Cool. Now, fishy. Oil? Is this oily already?
You would need the oil that's on the top there.
Which one is?
That's olive.
That's olive. No, I'd
Yeah,
rather
well,
use neutral oil.
Sunflower, that's the one.
This one.
Correct.
So when frying, pan frying, we're usually cooking over high heat. Yes, Italian cuisine, Mediterranean cuisine, it's all about olive oil. And you may cook with olive oil, no problem. The only problem is, if you're cooking over high heat, olive oil has the tendency to turn bitter. So when grilling fish, I prefer using neutral oil. I don't know, what's this, canola?
Sunflower.
Sunflower oil, which has a much higher burning point, I think above 200 degrees centigrade. Dry. Dry, dry. So you may pop the skin side, the flesh side down. Sure. Yes. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. And then at the end, you finish. You just give it a nice drizzle with olive oil, and then it's as good as if you had cooked it with it. Okay. Very hot. I like it. Now, as you can see, the flesh is contracting. Let it contract, just slightly. Don't touch it for a few seconds, and then try pushing it back gently and exert some pressure. Now, this is a fish weight by a phenomenal guy called Josh Island in Sydney, who's literally he's the actual, I'm the fish daddy, but he's sort of the fish he's like the fish godfather. This is his product. 1.62 kilograms, which is the perfect weight to press down any fish when pan frying or searing or grilling. It's like when you're cooking steak, right? You need some pressure from the top to ensure an even contact with the bottom. Now, in the meat, while I was talking, my pan has caught fire. No, it's good.
No, it's lovely.
Good, it's a nice haze. Decent enough. Oil. Where are these guys? There you are. Ooh, it's hot. Nice. Scallops. We're just going to sear the little scallops. So, when searing scallops, or anything for that matter, don't overcrowd the pan. Does anybody know why? Just shout at me, please. I'm fasting. There you go. Because you'll go from frying or pan frying to braising. You're literally changing the technique just by changing the amount of whatever it is you're cooking inside the pan. Yes, and I forgot. Astute observation, sir. I completely forgot. And you have no idea how often I get accused of not seasoning my stuff in my videos. But at this point, it's become deliberate because I'm just taking the piss right now because you have to show people that you season, really. But well done. Okay, move the weight. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to unstick the fish from your top. Oh my God, chef, you've done this before, haven't you?
Is the fish going?
No, because here's the thing. It's going to be very difficult to flip it, so I'm going to literally flip it right on the presentation.
No problem at all. Are we going?
Okay, so we have a little sauce.
Are we going to use the presentation tray?
Yes, that one. Yes, yes, yes. So you keep it on a hot or warm stove top. I'm going to need this, so I'm just going to flip it once it's done. Perfect, right? And just let it run its course. Just let it cook. Don't do anything to it. The fish will tell you when it's done. Or is it? That's a barbecue recipe. It's even better because what you want is crispy skin. Now, how to get crispy skin is to get rid of moisture. And what's best for getting rid of moisture than griddles? Griddles and gaps between gaps for the moisture to escape and drip away into. I'm not sure about the power yet. So at this point, so once you flip them, what you may do is baste them with butter. I'm not going to do it because we're going to finish these with the sauce. So there's no need. But this is generally the point where you go like, okay, flip them and baste them. Oh, they're sticking. All right. Any ideas why they're sticking? Sorry? Lovely colour. It's okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful colour.
So if you're unsure, if you're insecure about cooking scallops, because they have a tendency to stick. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but if Gordon Ramsay is doing it, it can't be wrong. Get Teflon, non-stick. Yeah. Because at this point I'm just... Sorry? Look, I don't own a single piece of Teflon, and I never shall, simply because, you know, bug life, right? Cast iron, copper, that's what you want.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why it's so popular. It works. Sorry? I haven't. It's Gordon's, it's his thing. Haven't, no. Are they? What are we talking? So I think what we're all taking from it, you're very lucky. You should keep your wife.
Very lucky as well.
All right, there you go.
Well fed.
Well fed. Quid pro quo, as we say in the trade.
Do you know why? Because you were well trained.
Is this on? 205, yes. Yep. Good. Okay, so this is
Very
still
close,
ticking.
isn't it?
Sorry.
Very close.
I'm going to let it cook. It's a so we cook in lateral, meaning on one side only. You can't flip it. The flipping technique is going to be a bit tricky. I have to use my hands. It's going to be a bit. I have to wing it because once if you turn it around, these parts are cooked and they're going to come off. But alternatively, so if you're barbecuing, just close a green egg or whatever you have, or if you have a portable frying pan, pop it in the oven for a couple of minutes. 180 is the magic number when it comes to cooking fish in the oven, and yeah. Weird. Okay, so I'm going to take these off. I'm just going to rest them for a few minutes. I'm going to leave them undercooked. Is everyone fine with undercooked scallops? Mi-cuit. So they got a acceptable color. Am I allowed to place them on the no? They're asking why I won't open another restaurant. It's like, my God. Thank you, chef. Okay. Let me see. Right. So the color is not bad. You could potentially serve. Could you serve these in a restaurant? Sorry. Could you serve these in a restaurant? Could you? I mean, the type of with the color.
I would serve them, most definitely. Those
Yeah?
I would. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Good. Thank you.
Lovely caramelisation.
Right, and that's basically it, guys. These are little scallops. I do feel bad for not giving people just a taste of scallop. Yeah, it's fine. Good.
Fantastic.
I'm just going to cut these. Damn, I'm actually happy. I'm actually very happy. Oh, God. Sorry. No. We can serve these, though, right?
I
We
think
can chop them up at the end. I mean, they're really good. They're lovely for the people to try.
if anybody wants to try them at the end, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm just going to. So in terms of presentation, I'm going to arrange it in a very old school fashion. Where are we, Chef? Is it sticking?
Rather you than me. That's
Okay.
all I'll say.
That bad, hey? Okay.
I think with a little gentle persuasion, I think if you're gentle, I think you'll be.
So I'm going to hold it, flip it onto the. Because this is done.
I'm just going to go out.
Yeah, fine. I'll flat earth wipe things for when you come back. Flat earth wipe. Do we have another spatula?
We don't
of
have
these.
spatula.
Because those would, one of these would surely would help. No, one of these to help you lift. Or
I've only got a small little baby one, I'm afraid. That one.
no, it doesn't matter. Thank you, sir.
Or a cleaver.
Right, it's got to go. Just bring that thing closer to me, please. Need another spatula? Cleaver. I'll take the cleaver. I really will.
Yeah.
You could do the, sorry? It has to go underneath. But the thing is, you can do this on parchment paper. Oh yeah, thank you. Welcome to the kitchen. Fast 101. Now to flip it. Wait. So actually, that's actually nice. Oh, okay. And because we're chefs, and what's the most important thing in any job? Cover up your failures. And this is what these are for. All right? Right. So scallops. So basically, I'm calling this recipe the scallop cover-up job. Okey-doke. The beurre blanc. I'm just going to ladle it around the fish. And then when you, so again, this is a super old school presentation. So in the days of yore, the French restaurant, you'd have the maître do this in front of the guests, the dinner party, and then split it up and serve it table side for everyone to enjoy. So yeah, very. So this is straight from a 70s cookbook. And there you go.
Thank you.
Sir. Oh, I forgot to salt bay that thing. Salt fish. Cool. All right.
Done on the grill.
Done with the grill, yeah. Chef, for you. Take one.
Thank you very much.
Maro. Take one. Freya, take one. Good. Dover salt. I'll just plop this in.
Yep.
Now we're moving on to our flat fish.
15 minutes, chef.
Huh?
15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I think we're going to be able to do, oh yeah. Right, flatfish. I'm going to give you the rolls to start
we didn't start in the pocket.
Yeah, pop them in because this is going to, by the time these go in the oven, I'll be done with that. Can anyone tell me what this is? I forgot you know how to read. Yeah, well, then try to think this one through. So, Duversol, flatfish. It's called a benthic species, meaning it literally lives on the substrate or below the substrate. Inside there, yeah. It submerges itself under the substrate and covers itself with sand, and you don't see anything other than two lurking eyes waiting for prey to swim by. Does anybody want to know? Is there anything anybody wants to know about flatfish? Okay, good. Because there's a fun story. When flatfish are born and when they hatch, flatfish larvae look exactly like any other roundfish larvae, with eyes on either side, and they just swim around happily. But depending on the water temperature, after about, 2 weeks, they tilt, and one eye migrates to the other side of the fish. They become they become flattened. They lay down on the ground, and their whole anatomy sort of changes. So this side of the body, which is facing upwards, which is facing up, it's also called the eye side. That is, in fact, the right side of any flat fish. Because you imagine they were born like this, they swim around, evolution kicks in, eye wanders to the other side. And the other side, the white side, is called blind side, because it's blind. And yeah, this is basically it. So they lay around waiting for stuff to come by, and then they go for it. Good. Skinning.
Am I putting
Yes,
some of this in each bag?
Yes, please. Perfect. You don't need this? No? Yeah, good. All right. I just need a tiny bit for mine, because I don't think we have the time
No
for me to start. Basically, I'll get to that in a bit. Right, we're going to skin the sole first. Knife, tip of the base of the fin. Make a tiny incision. You scrape away the skin. Once the skin is exposed, you take something. You take some J cloth or kitchen cloth, which enables you to get a good grip on the fish. And all you have to do is one fine swoop, tear off the skin. Now, if we have enough time, I'm going to show you another technique, because what happened here is we took off the silver skin. Now, the silver skin is a layer of subskin between the epidermal, well, it's an epidermal layer between the flesh and the outer skin, which acts as a connective tissue, and it keeps the fillets together. Now, the way we're going to fillet it, it's not as important. But if we were to fillet it in a cross-cut, with a cross-cut technique, taking off both fillets in one go, you do want the silver skin. But I'll get to that in a bit if we have the time. All right, so we flip over the fish and repeat the process. Having arthritis in your middle finger doesn't help. See? See this? That's the silver skin. Ideally, you want it on. But for this recipe, it's not mandatory. Okay? So this is our skinned Duversol. Right? I'll chop its head off, as I generally do with any fish I fillet. All right? Come on. Now today, for flatfish, I recommend using a flexible knife, because it enables you to follow the fish's bone structure more easily. Okay, so this was the eye side, right, which is slightly thicker, and also Duversol are dextral. Dextral means their eyes are always facing to the right. So fish like Duversol And I think, yeah, Dover sole are the best example of a dextro fish. The other one, the other type is called sinistral, like turbot, brill, and yeah, turbot and brill, for instance. If you see them, pay attention next time at the fish market. Lemon sole, look right. Turbot and brill, look left. Now, there's types of fish like flounder, who generally are dextro, but the colder it gets, so in the Black Sea, for instance, I think only 5% of all flounder population is dextro, whereas in Norway it can reach up to 50%. So there's, you know, there's an argument for outside temperatures influencing the way the direction of the head in certain fish species. Anyway, Dover sole, where the head used to be away from you. This is called the lateral line, and this is the center of the ventral, of the vertebral column. Place your knife at the very tip, and one swoop, right? Can everyone see what's happening? Yeah, okay. And then, shoop. You literally peel the fish off its bone, right? Shoop. And this is why you want a flexi knife. Cut through the pin bones at the nape. Shoop. There you go. Do we have another plaque, tiny one? Just to, right, so these are called pterygophores. So basically, these are extended. This is extended muscle tissue connecting the fins, the dorsal and the anal fin seam. You want to trim these for this recipe. However, this is very good eating, especially with turbot. There's not much on there at the moment, so there's no reason in keeping it. But if you were to make a farce or a sauce, use this to flavor it or give it more texture. It's really nice stuff. Okay. Fillet one. Flip over the fish with the tail facing away. Up. So this is the rib cage right there. There are a few pin bones, no real bones, but pin bones you need to cut through. And then just repeat the process by gliding your blade along fish. Okay. All right. So I like to go around the roe sack. Oop. And this is it. And then you trim the seam. Yep. I prefer to take off a bit more than perhaps necessary to make sure to get all those pin bones. There are only a few, but they are nasty, and they tend to dampen the mood if you're cooking for kids. Flip the fish around, repeat the process. Yep. Any questions so far? All right. Red mullet. No questions. No questions. Order it at a restaurant. When I'm eating red mullet, I want to enjoy it. I don't want to think about having to do the dishes afterwards.
So, what's your favorite red mullet?
No, but so to show off with potato scales a la Paul Bocuse. But honestly, mate, that fish has such a unique flavor. It's pure iodine. pan-fried in neutral oil, and that's, you may quote me on this, but not too often. I don't use butter on red mullet. I don't. It's literally the only thing I cook without butter. So yeah, olive oil at the end. Just drizzle on top. That's it. Salad, orange. Or no, actually, bottle of wine, white wine. Yeah. Right. What's yours?
I really enjoy red mullet as well.
Sorry?
Pan-fried.
What? Red mullet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pan-fried, bottle of white wine. On a school night. So there's no one who wants to share the bottle with you. Perfect. Good. And here's our fillets. Now, I'll put this away. The cartouche. So when you roll the fillets, for presentation's sake, this is the flesh side. I always put the fish down with its back or skin side down first. So you flip them around, and then you use them by the thick end. You take them by the thick end, and then you can see better like this, and then just roll up the fillet, so the thin end closes, tapers out at the bottom. Okay. There you go. So what chef is doing, he's already prepping this dish. He's going to put it in the oven. We fastened the rolls with toothpicks. I'm not going to do it with this one, simply because I'm very curious how it's going to turn out without toothpicks. And we have plenty of tasting portions for you to try. Good. Now these are our little fish rolls. Yeah. And now onto the cartouche. Yeah, put them in, because whilst I sort of finish this, and we can go on to plating and then go over to plating. All right. Right, so these are the ingredients I was going to show you how to make the marinière sauce with. I think we ran out of time, but I've pre-made some here. So basically, it's very simple. Chopped shallots, garlic, white wine, dry white wine. You start by sweating off the shallots and garlic until they're translucent. And then when they're translucent, sort of soft, you add the white wine, bring it to a rolling boil, preferably flambe it off, just to get rid of the alcohol. You do want to keep all the wine flavor. You don't want it to overly reduce, because that's going to happen. That's going to serve as cooking liquid. So once you get rid of the alcohol, you add some blanched lemon peel. Very simple. Lemon. You take a lemon. You cut down the zest. Take off what's the white stuff called again? The pith. No, it's not the pith. No, is it the pith? No, sorry. Yes, the pith. So you take. I was just double checking it. So you cut off the pith, because the pith tends to be very bitter. You blanch them for a few minutes, really, and then shock them in cold water to stop the cooking process, and then cut them into small brunoise, and that's really it. It it doesn't even add tartness. It just adds lemon flavor. And this is our marinière base. That's literally it. And we're going to cook these rolls in a cartouche en papillote. So the d'Aubergine is going to steep inside this white wine marinière sauce with some mussels, because that's just how it is. That's what we're doing today. I'll put these away. All right, cartouche. Right here. We have aluminium foil. Sorry. Oh, brilliant. Got it. Am I allowed to use the green one for this? Because. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dankeschön. Good. Parchment paper. Screen. Nice. Parchment paper. Fold it down the middle. Reopen it. Aluminium foil. And then you only take enough to cover half. Why are we doing this? Because we can, but also because there's a reason for it. When you bake, when you steam a cartouche in the oven, the evaporation, the steam from the liquid is going to inflate the cartouche, and then when you serve it in front of your guests, you want the effect of this little dome, and then when you cut it open, it's sort of inflated. It looks nice. Unfortunately, if you don't use aluminium foil, it's going to the steam is going to cool off, and the dome is going to collapse on itself. So we're using aluminium foil just to add a little structural integrity. There you go. Yeah, something like that. Should be enough. All right. There. So I'm just going to arrange these deliberately. So mussels take, generally, so when you make mussels, they should pop open by the time these are cooked. If any of these mussels should not open by the end, pop open, discard them. Better safe than sorry, because they may have been, dodgy before we got to this point. Salt, 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 salt. Thank you. A little bit of butter because humanity. Shallots and garlic on top. I'm doing this now because I'm going to pour in the liquid in a moment, but you want all the solid components inside the cartouche before we get there. And perhaps a bit more of that. Okay. Can everyone see all right? Now I start with the far end. Okay. I'm going to turn this around so you can see probably that. So it's better.
Presumably you could put clams in there, you could put prawns in there, depending
Anything.
let it
As
steam.
long as it has the same cooking time. That's like literally the only crucial bit when doing this recipe. Same cooking time. All right. Okie doke. Pouch. Before we close the pouch, now this is the time when you use the cooking liquid. pour in the cooking liquid. Because at this point, if you were spooning in everything, including the solids, they wouldn't distribute inside evenly. Everything, all the onions would get stuck in this bit at the front. So now we're just pouring in the wine. More wine. What time is it, chef? Are we? Do I not want to know? I probably don't want to know.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah, are we?
8:30. Perfect.
Are we?
Perfect.
Bloody hell.
Best thing the muffins.
Yes,
Put on the
please.
salt.
Yes, please. Oh yeah, we totally forgot about those, didn't we? Sorry, mate. Okay. And then finish your cartouche like so. Of course you. Sorry, meat fillet. Meat fillet.
No. Red mullet fillet. The reason for the questions about red mullet is because they have their exam and it's red mullet dish in 4 weeks' time. So they're picking your brains and trying to get everything they can from you. So
If you want to score, get a perfect score. Save the liver. It's the foie gras of the sea. Actually, no, monkfish liver is foie gras of the sea. But red mullet liver, if you incorporate that into any sauce, like I use the coral for the beurre blanc, I mean, red mullet liver is
stunning. They're tiny. They are tiny in the 400, 600 grams.
Yeah, but not if you get the ones with diabetes. Those are really good. Yeah. Is it okay if we shove it in this tray?
No problem at all. Stick it, flash it on the bottom.
Okay. Are you keeping
Other way
track of time? So,
Sorry?
like so.
So, yeah, straight on a hot tray.
These are.
There we go.
Okay.
2.5 minutes.
So I reckon,
Yes.
and then I can do the filleting technique, but I don't think it's a good idea.
You can if you wish to. How long are you going to be?
Time-wise, it's a bit more tricky because I need to. It's like it takes probably 20 minutes simply because I need steam and vapor.
Right.
And
Probably not. But they go
So,
on. Yeah, probably best not.
yes.
Yes.
So at this point, if I had worked a lot more quickly, I would show you a filleting recipe, a technique on how to create rack of Dover sole. Basically, it's a recipe I stole from, I think, the head chef of restaurant Petrus, owned by Gordon Ramsay in Knightsbridge. Belgravia. He came up with it. I mean, if you really want to know what it looks like, just either check out his Instagram or my Instagram. It's Dover sole rack à la Meunière. Basically, what happens is you trim it in a fashion where you keep the central spine, the spinal column intact, and you have the vertebral spines sticking out. So imagine a sausage, a fish sausage, with the spines sticking out. Looks super cool, and then it's quite something. And I was going to show you. Unfortunately, that's quite a bit of sorcery, and I don't think we can make it in time. So I'm really, really sorry about that, but there's always my Instagram page which you can consult. I have to mitigate at this point, don't I? Yes. Any questions? Oh, come on. Red mullet.
Why did you smack your face?
Huh? It's good for the soul and good, even better for morale.
That's transferable, yeah.
Absolutely. Just smack them. No, good appreciate, a nice gentle spank is a sign of appreciation and camaraderie. I value the fish. No, but it's so weird. I spanked a fish a few months ago, and that video did really well. And then I was like, okay, it was a fluke. And then I stopped spanking, and then views went down. And then I started spanking again, and views went up. And I was like, okay. If that's what Zuckerberg wants, Zuckerberg style again. Yep. Yeah. Any other spanking or non-spanking related questions? Sorry?
When we were discussing about
Yes.
orata,
Orata. Where are you from? Sorry.
I live in Italy.
Okay. So orata is gilded sea bream, or dorade royale in France, but orata in Italy. Yeah. Orada komracha on the Balkan Peninsula. So what about it? Where you can? Right. Okay. So I think 95% of all gilded bream you see in the UK, in London, at supermarkets or at farms, because it's just the way it is. It's the. I think it's even more frequent. It's farmed more than sea bass, right? And the best way to tell when you see a gilded bream that is slimmer, right? Still round shape, but it's slimmer. Then it's, there's a chance it's wild, but the best telltale sign is an orange. So gilded bream derives its name from that golden bar between its eyes. That's why it's gilt head. But there's a orange patch underneath, below it, between its pectoral fins and the operculum. The orange patch. And it's those are the fish slightly darker, but generally it's more narrow, it's slimmer, and the orange patch. That's your best way to tell a wild from a farm gilt-head bream. Okay. Anything else?
What real
Element.
would you put in
No, go ahead. Like, there's no. I warm up with esoteric questions.
No, I was just because for our taco dish exam, we have red mullet and we incorporate dough elements.
Dough.
Yes.
I mean, does it have to be edible?
I'll take it to a batter and
Poor fish. Doughy element.
This is classed. This is classed as assisting, and she'll lose marks for it. It's fine.
That's right.
never mind.
So you could theoretically, there's a guy. You could theoretically, if it's spanking fresh, because the problem with the red mullet, the crucial problem is that it decomposes very quickly. So within a couple of days, the belly starts to disintegrate. But if you have a spanking fresh red mullet, you may actually try cooking it in salt dough crust, and then opening it in front of the jury or chef, and then taking it apart. I mean, that's dough. It's not edible, but it's dough. No, it's a technicality, and I get by technicality. No, but yeah. Welcome. Try. You don't really do pasta here, do you? Spaghettini. You make a sauce with the monkfish liver, a nice emulsion. Make it unction, then perhaps incorporate some uni, sea urchin, really delicious, or botaga. Literally pump everything the sea's got to offer in ways of iodine. Just bang it in there, and then you roll up the pasta. Make it too banal, but I don't know where, and then place a pan-fried, skin-side down butterfly in it. And where do you find the recipe for butterfly? How to butterfly fillet red mullet?
Your Instagram site.
10 points. There you go. Butterflying fish, or reverse butterflying fish, is always good for presentation.
Do you mind?
Sorry, sir.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes. I'm sort of self-sufficient in that regard. So I film at home, I source, I script, I film at home, and then I sit down and edit everything on my iPhone. Where's my fucking iPhone? Sorry, yes. The less the better. So if you imagine my kitchen, so the kitchen island is probably from here to there. That's it. 2 meters, 20, 30. I have a 2-top induction stove and a 2-top gas stove. That's it. And below the counter oven. Yeah, and then the sink and fridge and drawers are on the backsplash. Why do you ask? Right. There's one thing I can tell you when it comes to getting help from creators and YouTube. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit because those who have figured out how to do it are sure as shit not going to share with you. Lighting is the ultimate foe. Lighting is so difficult. If you imagine, if this is my kitchen, so where the far wall is where I get my natural light from. So there's a row of ceiling, floor to ceiling windows to get a lot of natural light. And then I've got two headlights on top, above me, which I cover with a diffusion foil. Because those are LEDs. LEDs are terrible. They cause flickering, and you don't want that, so you have to cover those. And then on top of everything, I have a ring light to smoothen out the contours and the shadows. It's terrible. And the worst part is, every time I go to a video shop, a camera shop, and ask for help, it's half-baked help because lighting is just so intricate and complex. You really need someone. If you have friends who are photographers or experts, invite them for a coffee. Hell, invite them for like a couple of nice bottles of wine because that information is the most invaluable you get during your whole filming career. Lighting, get a grip on lighting because I haven't. I have no idea how to do it. I'm just being lucky.
You're vegan.
Yeah, welcome. Any other questions? Fish related, Instagram related, Cordon Bleu? Yes. Lovely lady in the second row.
Your carpaccio.
Yes.
Or you made a ceviche.
Do you know what the difference between carpaccio and ceviche is?
So the ceviche, you're marinating it.
Tigre de leche. Leche de tigre. Yeah.
So how long would you let that sit out?
So the difference between serving and marinade is basically 20 minutes. Carpaccio, you dress, you marinade, you decant, if you will. An expression I learned today from Monsieur. You serve, that's it. Because the cooking, the curing process is going to start once you send it off out of the kitchen. Ceviche, you marinate it in salt, sugar, in a mix of salt, sugar, and acidity, lime or lemon, what have you. And then you drain that. You sieve that tigre de leche off, and then you have a cured product. That's ceviche. Sort of a 20 to 25, 30 minutes max, depending on the fish, marinade. Out or in the fridge, or like for future use. For service, for ceviche. Honestly, by the time it's no longer safe to eat, either guests are gone, or everyone's so drunk that it won't matter anyway. So several hours, you should be fine. Obviously not when it's like 35, not in the summer months on a terrace. But if you're at home, 18, 20 degrees, room temperature, several hours, you should be fine. Don't worry. Yeah, of course. No? How's the food? Are you eating? Yes. How's the food? How's the salt level? How's the salt? You put a bit. There you go. It's Capricorn? Are you Capricorn? Oh, shit. Capricorn. I always over salt. So I'm much happier with sending out undersalted, underseasoned food because I always get a bollocky for oversalting my food. You were? No? It was just my imagination.
So this,
Oh, thank you.
So this,
See, I believe him and I don't believe you. See? Sorry?
this is yours coming
Oh,
out, which
shit,
is
I totally forgot about that.
which is a nice
Alright.
pillow, which is puffed up
Oh, it's
beautifully.
puffed up. So as
There
you
we
can
go.
see, so the idea is behind the puffing, behind the aluminium foil. This is quite lovely in terms of, in ways of presentation. So if you had slightly darker parchment paper, it would even be nicer. But now imagine you bring this to a guest or at a restaurant. and then you do tableside service. Now, ideally, I would have, anyway. So it's still puffed up, and then all you do is cut open. What's this? Yeah. What is going? Ah, it's a mussel. Right. Okay. And there you go, sir. Can you see? No. Yep. And then you remove the aluminium foil because now it's obsolete. Thank you, chef. There's that. So, have you done in your class? Have you done marinière? Right. So, white wine, shallots, garlic, butter, and parsley. If you add cream, it's à la crème, basically. And it's a sort of a leveling up recipe. But this is as basic as it gets. It's generally served with mussels or shellfish or what have you. And then here we've just done combined two techniques: classic marinière with a en papillon cooking presentation. This is your television dinner. You take this to your sofa, put on BBC or ITV or Netflix or whatever, and this is your grub for the evening. And yeah, low carb, nothing wrong with that. And yeah, that's your papillon. I don't know if you want to try more. If you like a second help, thank you. If you like a second helping. Oh yeah.
You and me, mate. You and me.
Forgot.
That's not about them.
There you go.
No, we'll have later. When we've
Go
got
yeah. After the beer.
Perfect. Excellent.
Oh, I'm happy about the mussels all popping open.
They're beautiful,
Because
aren't they?
they are. I
They're
was
beautiful.
a bit apprehensive because sometimes, well, this one's a bit shriveled, but see, a good mussel. We should all eat more mussels because they're extraordinarily cheap, very affordable. In today's time, it's the answer to many questions. Full of bye bye.
See you later.
Yeah. Yeah. Very sustainable because at the end of the day, I don't want to go into too much details on where they're grown and how they're grown, but generally speaking, the environmental impact on those is not too big. They are filter feeders, which means they in fact enrich the biosphere, and they help filter and clear the water in their surroundings. So mollusks such as bivalves, such as oysters, or mussels, they can feed, depending on the species, anywhere between 25 liters up to 50 liters per unit per day. I mean, can you imagine the impact, the positive environmental impact? And yeah, they're now trying to cultivate these in so-called multi-trophic integrated systems, whereby you have apex predators, fish, carnivores, piscivores, and then you've got herbivores, happy fishes that don't eat other fishes but get eaten by the one on top. And then what falls down to the earth, to the ground, to the soil, feeds the detrivores, basically mollusks and consumers, third-grade consumers are they're called. So you have different types, and you can also add algae and water plants, etc., to it, and you have a closed system that's allegedly self-sustainable. And you have fish protein, mollusk protein, algae, wakame, kelp, dulse, thank you, monk's beard, and stuff like that. And yeah. More questions? What's the internet say? They don't care. They logged off a long time ago, haven't they? Yes. Brining cod. How would you brine cod? Dry aged cod. I'm going to get into trouble for this. So, historically speaking, dry aging cod or stockfish up in in the northern countries is a traditional method of preserving that type of fish, whereby they would actually reverse butterfly those and then put them on. They put them on the roof where they would get dried by the wind and the cold, etc. So natural drying, sort of curing. I think they would also salt the fish and then make and preserve it. Now, I think what the lady or gentleman from the internet is asking is dry aging, as in nowadays sukibiki, skinning the fish with a knife rather than with the scaler and then hanging it up to dry to obtain more flavor. I'm sort of undecided about this issue for one simple reason: there's not enough fat in cod. Cod is literally this Kate Moss of the fish world. We're talking 0.7% body fat, and during the winter months, so January, February, March, when they migrate along the shores, western shores of Norway, and where they get the name skrei, the wandering fish, during spawning season, their body fat levels drops below 0.5. So I find them too fibrous when they get dry aged. However, that being said, you get a nice cod loin, you fillet it, leave it in your fridge for a day or two, skin side up. That's only going to ensure the skin crispening up in the frying pan. But you won't really get a dry aged per se product, which is for me too fibrous. So again, I can't give you a yet do this or not do that answer. Get a lovely piece of cod, dry, fridge age it for a couple of days, skin side up, fine. But dry aging it like the way high-end restaurants are doing it for up to 5 or 7 or more days. Cod, haddock, pollock, wouldn't do it.
But it's got to be under.
Grill
it's got to be under temperature-controlled conditions and everything. It can't just be in the fridge.
Well, you can. That's a lovely thing. So depending on the fridge, it's not only the temperature; it's mostly the humidity and moisture. So if you have a good fridge, my fridge seems to be doing the job. The moisture levels are very low. So it's got this vegetable compartment where it can do, bing, and then it sort of seals off the humidity, access to humidity and the circulation. I don't know what happens. It's very mechanical, and then it really works. You just have to find out in your own fridge. So cod, try it, but don't overdo it.
Would you salt it before going in the fridge?
Depending. Not if you want to dry age it, let it out for a while. But if you're planning on cooking dinner, salt it. 2 ways to quick cure. You've got 2 ways of quick curing a fish, broadly speaking. Salt it, rub it in with salt, pop it in the fridge for an hour, 2, and then when you take it out, you'll see that the flesh will have relinquished a little bit of moisture. There's fish you absolutely have to do it with, like monkfish, because that stuff is pure water. You take out the fillet, you pat it dry, and that's it. You've just you've dried it a bit. You gave it a quick cure. Another option: liter of water, or however many liters you need to submerge the fish completely, and then add between 7 to 10% salt. So 1 liter of water, 70 to 10 grams. 70 to 100 grams of salt. Dissolve it, pop the fish inside, fridge, 20 minutes. Take it out, rinse it, pat dry, and you'll notice that the flesh will have firmed up significantly, and that's a really nice way to do it. You can also do a salt sugar cure, but that's a different story. So yeah, those are your either 20 minutes in the fridge, salt bath. No, not really, because I think the salt would bloody cure it, wouldn't it? Because you essentially add some acidity, and you make yourself some ceviche and keep it for a couple of days in the fridge as such as ceviche. But no, not if you want to preserve. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Just thank you very much. Put your hands together, please, Andrej. All right, spending his time with us today. Thank you very much indeed. No, fantastic and brilliant. Looking at all the whole variety of different ways of preparing fish and knowledge. All right. even those at the school that think that I am the fish man, the fish guru, right? Even talking and listening tonight, okay, we never stop learning. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you very much
Thank you,
indeed.
thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.